And have there been people that you couldn't help, even though they tried, you tried? Have there been any circumstance in which you couldn't make a big difference?
No, because I'm smart enough to not take on people that I know aren't going to put the work in. So, I've had, I'm very blessed where I'm at in my level of life. I've had people that have sold companies for, 10 figures, 9 figures, and they've come to me and they've said, I have any amount of money, I'll pay you any amount of money. I need a 90-day program. And I laugh in their face and I say, I'm not taking your money. You don't have enough money because you spent 50 years or 45 years or 38 years or whatever of your life becoming a human dumpster fire. And there's no 90-day program that's going to unwind all the damage you've done to yourself. So, I'm not the right guy for you. And then I just send them on their way. So I rarely take on people that I know are not going to, put the work in and create change in their life. And very, very truthfully, Richard, the way it works is this: until a person can look in the mirror and love and trust themselves and feel worthy of changing to whatever the change is going to be. And in this instance, we're talking about obviously to get better fit, to extend your life from a longevity standpoint. It doesn't matter what you tell them. It doesn't matter what information you give them, how much knowledge you have. They will default back to the state that they ultimately feel, which is no love and trust of self. So regardless of, any space that a person's in from a fitness standpoint, until you can actually help a person find worth, they're always going to default to their default state, which is essentially, again, they don't trust and love themselves. So if they're out of shape, they're going to go back to being out of shape. Even if they get fit, even if you get them on a program and they spend 90 to 120 days doing all the work, if they haven't actually gotten to the point where they worked on their inner self, they're going to still end up going back to their old habits and old behaviors and become the same person. And I've seen that in so many people over life that I just, like I said, now I realize that that's the first step is, okay, are you committed to changing your behaviors, at a fundamental root level versus like getting all excited about, getting on kind of 90-day or 120-day plan or something like that, which is unfortunately what a lot of the stuff that's promulgated on the internet today. You see these things like 60-day hard or 90-day hard or any of these things. And it's like, none of those things are going to help people, because even if those people do those programs, if they haven't worked on themselves and why they are, they're going to default back to that state. It happens 99.9% of the time.
Really, that much?
I mean, I could tell you 100% of the time, but I'm sure there's, a variation and an outlier. But yes, I mean, if you don't find yourself worthy, you will never, ever change who you are. You will go back to the default state of unworthy, don't love and trust of self. That's how it works. 100%.
What is the inner work that look like for people? Do you guys do it, or they get a counselor? Or, like, what do they?
Yeah, no. Inner work is literally looking in the mirror and being ready to find who and what you are, right? Whether it's meditation, introspection, contemplation, it definitely doesn't have anything to do with hiring somebody or a counselor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or anything like that. It's literally working on your inner self, because as I like to say, the way out is within. You really have to understand who and what you are. And we're so much more than these bodies, man. I mean, like these bodies, obviously we exist here in third density or whatever this is, the third dimension, but like we're so much more than the physical body. We're energy. We're literally vibrating atoms and oscillating waves of energy inside these physical bodies. And yeah, these physical bodies are going to die, but what encompasses you from a soul, spiritual, energy level doesn't die. I mean, energy, if you understand, energy cannot be contracted or contained. It's infinite. It's ever expanding. So whatever we are as energy is ultimately like what we have to work on our inner portion. So again, like it can be a lot of different things. I mean, it can be sitting in nature by yourself in the morning and really reflecting on your thoughts. It could be meditation. For me, I like to be very introspective. I like to go to a quiet place. It's usually in my backyard with my dog and just sit there and be alone with my thoughts and, not let what I call the drunk monkey, which is obviously your ego, drown out the thoughts, and just get to a place of sheer stillness, or, what I like to say also is mind silence. And then just at that point, really focus on what it is that I ultimately want to create. And at that point, once you have that understanding or that awareness of like the desire of what you want to create, I feel like you have a much clearer understanding or a bigger picture of what your purpose is here as a person or as a human.